Felix O Aliasim's run at the Australian Open has come to an end. The 23-year-old lost his third-round match in straight sets to Russia's Daniil Medvedev. O Aliasim was the last Canadian remaining in the singles draw. And for more on the Australian Open, we are joined by Lukas Weese, staff editor of news at The Athletic. Lucas, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Good to see you too, Lindsay. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, let's start with that. Felix O Aliasim eliminated in the third round. Not a good start to his 2024 season. What do you think went wrong there?
Not a good start, but certainly better than last year. Obviously, Felix had trouble last year just getting even out of the first round of slams. So for him to get to the third round, definitely a little bit of confidence. But he's going up against Daniil Medvedev, a former slam champion, someone that is a human backboard because he just defends everything so well. They're very similar players, but Daniil Medvedev just does everything a little bit better than Felix O Aliasim. Felix struggled with the serving in this match. His serving definitely does need to improve if he's going to beat these top players. But overall, I thought for Felix, definitely some confidence going into the rest of the season.
Okay, so potentially some things he can work on. But it really has been a disappointing tournament overall for Canadians so far, with all 5 that made the Open being eliminated within the first 3 rounds. So talk to us about what that means going forward for this season.
It definitely is disappointing, Lindsay, because we've been so accustomed to so many Canadians get to the second week of slams and even to the final, or even in Bianca Andreescu's case, win a Grand Slam. So definitely disappointing, but I just think for so many of these players, it's just getting started with their season. It's a long season to go, lots of tournaments left, but hopefully they can gain some confidence from this tournament and keep it going for the rest of the season, because it would be nice for some of these players like a Felix O Aliasim, a Leylah Fernandez to regain some of that form that we saw a couple years ago where Leylah made the final of the U.S. Open, Felix the semifinals.
Okay, and beyond the Canadians, there's been some big upsets on the women's side just overall. Can you talk to us about what you've been seeing so far, and maybe what this means for the 2024 season?
Well, the women's singles draw is putting the Open into the Australian Open. Just so many upsets at this tournament. We had Iga Swiatek, the world #1, bow out. Elena Rybakina, the 3rd seed. But 2 players that are still left, Aryna Sabalenka, last year's Australian Open champion, and Coco Gauff, the reigning U.S. Open champion. So while there's a lot of players who are gaining some experience into the second week of a slam, you have 2 experienced players in Gauff and Sabalenka there on the collision course for the semifinal. Hopefully we get that match, Lindsay, because it would be a rematch of last year's U.S. Open final where Coco Gauff won. So hopefully that definitely happens.
And just before I let you go, then, we do have a couple more rounds before the quarterfinals start on Tuesday. So who do you have going all the way on both the men's and the women's side? What do you think?
I like Coco Gauff. I really do. I think she's playing well. She's definitely one of the best court coverage players on the WTA Tour. And then on the men's side, look, it's just hard to bet against Novak Djokovic, even though he had a rough couple of opening rounds. He hasn't lost the Australian Open since 2018. There's definitely going to be some challengers for Novak, Carlos Alcaraz, Jannik Sinner, but I like Novak to win down under.
Okay, it's always great to get your insight, Lucas. We appreciate you taking the time this morning. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Lindsay.